What's up, everybody? It's Carlos from the Just Fans podcast. We are live at the Bull and Bear Pub here in Houston. I'm joined, of course, here by my co-host Rios. How's it going, Rios?
It's a beautiful Sunday, and it is week one. We waited all year for this.
Brother, it feels great outside. First of all, let me just talk about that. Here in Houston has been horrid all the last 2, 3, whatever, all summer long, really, as far as weather is concerned. And now we actually wake up to a breezy morning. What's up with that?
Well, I would consider 85 breezy, but compared to 120, I'll take it.
Well, I mean, overall, that's what I'm saying. Like overall, it's 85 degrees right now, but it's still breezy compared to the mornings where you wake up all muggy and sweaty. You wake up sweating. Today it was actually fine, and it was good overall. What do you think?
Does that mean fall's around the corner?
Maybe, yeah. I'm just tired of these 100-degree days that feel like 120. So, nonetheless, dude, man, I'm excited. You ready for this Ravens Texans game?
Been waiting all week for it, man.
I'm telling you, it's been long awaited. Before we start, we are live here at the Bull and Bear Pub in Houston. Here in Houston, let me go over the specials that Bull and Bear's got today. Let me get my notes out really quick. All right, so we know that there's going to be 16-ounce draft beers of the month for $4. If you buy a pitcher, you get a 12-inch one-topping pizza or house nachos or jalapeno boats, I believe for $3.99. $11.99 for one large pizza with 3 free toppings. Please come out to the Bull and Bear Pub, 11980 West Timer Road, Suite A, Houston, Texas 77077. Come check us out. Yeah, so let's go with man. So the Ravens this week. What are some things that you expect to see today, Rios?
Well, big thing is Mark Andrews being out. He was one of the people on offense that I was really worried about.
Yeah.
Now with him being out, the wide receivers, Odell's just a name at this point. Zay Flowers is still a rookie, so I think more than likely they're probably going to put what's his name?
Who?
Stingley on.
Stingley. Yeah. Did you forget about Stingley?
Sorry, I drew a blank there. Yeah.
That's what happens when you're drinking Guinness in the morning, right?
Breakfast of champions.
He's already done. Rios is checked out. No, yeah, they'll probably put Stingley on him for sure.
I expect them to stack the box because there's really not a passing threat. Because I know that on the offseason, the Ravens said they want to focus more on the passing game since they got rid of Greg Roman.
Right.
But now that he's gone, now that Andrews is out, they don't really have a passing threat outside of Andrews.
Yeah, they really don't.
So it's going to be a lot of J.K. Dobbins, and it's going to be a good test for them because, as we saw in preseason, they struggled a little bit, setting the edge on the outside, especially against the speedier, running backs. I wouldn't call Dobbins a speedster. He does have a little bit of burst, but
yeah,
we'll see. It's going to be a good test. And main thing is keeping Lamar from making those outside runs because once he's in the open field, good luck. I don't think we have anyone that can catch up to him.
No, Lamar Jackson, as far as that's the thing though. If you can contain Lamar Jackson from making those run plays, I think the Texans have a good shot. Obviously, with with Andrews being out, it makes the possibility for the chances for the Texans to win this week are a lot better. And so I see it as a positive, obviously. Give me one second. Let me lower this down. Sorry. Yeah, I see it as there is a possible shot, like you had said before. With that being said, I do. You did mention the run right now, and it's a little. We don't know yet what we're going to get. Hopefully, it can't get better than last year. It can't get worse than last year. Last year, dude. Okay, so I got some little.
Besides week one ending in a tie, there's no possible week.
Watch it does. No, all right. Let me talk a little about the run defense last year. Okay, I got some little analytics down.
We had a run defense last year.
We had whatever it was, run defense, the revolving door, if you must. So it was. We had 30. We were 32nd in rushing yards allowed, 31st in rushing touchdowns allowed. So basically, we allowed 31 touchdowns running on the ground last year. Okay, as far as
that's bad, right?
I believe so. I think when the math ain't math in there, so I believe that's bad, Mr. Rios. No, we were also 29th in yards per carry. We basically we were allowing 5.1 yards per carry defensively.
in layman's terms, if you had a fantasy running back playing against the Texans, he was going to
Anybody.
feast.
Anybody could have ran through that Texans defense. 5.1 yards per carry. That's
Even-
what we were allowing.
Even Trent Richardson.
Even Trent Richardson could have gone through that. That's how bad it was. Man who ran through every brick wall that was set upon him.
The Ray Charles vision.
Ray Charles
He would
vision.
have had 200 yards rushing against us.
Exactly. And then even offensively, though, we were averaging offensively, even with Damian Pierce, we were averaging at least 3.7 yards per carry. We were only ahead of Tampa Bay.
Well, when Davis Mills is your starting quarterback, that's a detriment to your entire offensive production, and we saw it every Sunday, unfortunately.
Speaking of which, Texas. This is overall all three quarterbacks for the Texans last season. These are things that the reason I'm saying this is because these are things that are you're definitely going to see an improvement over this season as opposed to last season. Obviously, our season last season was horrid. It was awful. But these are some of the reasons why. Now, you brought up Davis Mills, right? So overall, the Texans quarterbacks combined, they were 352 out of 579, which means they were at 60.8%.
Terrible.
Overall, they had 3,344 passing yards, all combined.
Laughable.
20 passing touchdowns.
Horrendous.
Here's the best part. Here's the kicker. 19 interceptions.
To the absolute shock of no one.
Exactly. So obviously all that contributes to the detriment that it was the Houston Texans last season. When you're the worst in rushing yards allowed. You're allowing 31 touchdowns, on the ground. You're averaging 3.7 yards per carry, offensively. And of course, having those numbers for your quarterback, overall for your quarterbacks, obviously overall, now you have your offense struggling, you have your defense struggling, and that's and by the way, in two games last year, the Texans had 161 yards or less of offense.
So basically, if you watched all 17 games last year like I did, you are a masochist because, man, there was just no joy watching that at all.
It was a punishment. It was a last season really tested a lot of Texans fans. They tested a lot of
and
Texans
my therapist,
fans.
she got an earful every Sunday.
Yeah, definitely. If you were if you were a counselor, you definitely earned some money from sports last season for watching the Texans for sure. So all of those factors contribute into what kind of season we had last season. Those are all areas that I feel are going to improve this season because now, you have D'Amico Ryans, who's like a defensive guru in mindset. Now, you could have said, well, you had Lovie Smith last season, but Lovie Smith, I don't think he was too invested in this team last season. What do you think?
Not just that, he's also set in his ways. He kept running that Tampa 2, even though we didn't have the personnel for it. Besides, it worked 20 years ago, not today's NFL. He refused to adapt. In-game decisions were head-scratching, to say the least.
Yeah.
And the continuance of putting Rex Burkhead out there on third downs, I'm like...
And it's crazy, because we mention that all the time, Rios, but at this point, it happened. It's almost like PTSD for us Texans fans, seeing Rex Burkhead out there. I'm so glad that we don't see him out there, and I feel like we repeat each other all the time on the show about Rex Burkhead, but that's what it was. That's what we were shown. That's what we were brought into,
The bulkhead offense.
The bulkhead offense, exactly.
Those are words that are going to live in my mind for the rest of my life because that's just the saddest thing to hear on a national broadcast when you're watching the game and they call it the bulkhead offense. I'm like, why, God?
How effective was it?
I would say ineffective is a better word.
Exactly. There was nothing. It barely did anything. So,
we're sure he's a great guy, but he should not be getting meaningful carries in any NFL game.
That's true. Let's go back to the defense really quick, just because I had a few of these notes that I want to share. So I ended it with in the last two games. Obviously, the Texans had 106. In the 2 games of last season, they were 100. They had a game where they had averaged 161 yards or less, which is lackluster, and obviously it provides for a loss. So I want to go back to the Titans. I know Sam's going to probably like this one, our Titans friend. Sam's going to like this one. And we gave...
More like frenemy.
Frenemy. he's a friend right now. But when it comes to when the Texans go off against when the Texans go against the Titans, oh, it's on site.
Oh, especially when they wear those baby blues. Oh no,
Oh, it's gonna be
I'm
horrible.
gonna hate him with every fiber of my being.
Yeah, and that's a lot of fiber and being. I think I just called you fat for no reason. For no reason. Yeah. It's
Sir, the camera works. You can tell I'm not
Yeah,
fat.
right. I don't know, man. It does add 10 pounds. Unlike you, it adds 30. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know. That makes no sense. You're like better shit than I am. Anyway, no, but nonetheless, though. So let's go back to week 8 against the Titans, okay? Last season.
Do we have to?
Yes. So this obviously contributed to those stats that we saw that we talked about in the defense. That game alone, the Titans had 314 rushing yards against the Texans, and 2 of those were rushing touchdowns, and about 40 net passing yards. But that overall was a 2 testament. All they had to do, Mike Vrabel was like, guys, just run it through. Really, there's nothing there.
Basically, every play was halfback dive.
Oh yeah,
That was every single play.
Yeah, every play was a halfback dive. Exactly. So that kind of tells you exactly how bad our run defense was. We let a team come in and just rushed for 314 yards on the Texans.
It's almost like they escorted them to the end zone. That's
Yeah.
how bad it was.
The last thing they needed was exactly like our D lineman just saying, you know what, here's my hand.
Come on through, fam.
Come on, let's escort you through. Kind of like that episode of King of the Hill.
Oh,
where they broke the rush was the touchdown for the bulldozer.
For the bulldozer.
And
for the man tore every muscle in his body getting to that end
yeah,
zone.
and so like remember like that scene where the guy's like on crutches or whatever, and he's like I think he like tore his ACL. I can't remember what happened in that episode. He tore his ACL, and they wanted him so bad because I think it was his senior year in high school, so he was gonna go somewhere else. But it was so close for Bill, for them to break Bill's rushing record or whatever. And so what they did was like they had like
they parted the Red Sea essentially.
They parted the Red Sea and they walked him like here you go. And then for a minute he drops the ball.
They picked it
up.
And
they picked it up for him and gave it to him.
That's what it was like.
That's what it was like. That right there, what I just described was exactly what happened with the Texans last season.
Exactly as I described it to my therapist.
Yeah. I think about it every night before I go to bed. Dude, yeah, we really need to work on your mental health issues, sir. Seriously, that's pretty bad. No, he bows his head down, tears. No, nonetheless, man. So, again, if you are in the Houston area, please come out to Bull and Bear. We are here live an hour right before the game starts, and then we're gonna do about 30 minutes after for our post. Whoa, the microphone off. For our post-game show, about 30 minutes after. So
we're either going to be celebrating in elation or crying in dejection. One of the two.
There's going to be tears for sure. Tears of joy or tears of just absolute misery.
Preferably not of dejection, but we'll see.
Right. Exactly. So again, just to announce the beer specials they got going on at Bull and Bear. They got 16-ounce draft beers of the month for $4. You buy a pitch, you get a 12-inch one-topping pizza, or house nachos, or house jalapeno bowls for about $3.99. Also, for $11.99, you get a large pizza with 3 free toppings. Come hit us up at 11980 Westheimer Road, Suite A, Houston, Texas 77077. Come join us at the Bull and Bear, y'all.
I personally recommend the pizza.
Pizza's great, man. That little fluffy crust they got going on back there with the pizza, delicious.
And the honey dip.
Yeah, exactly. You can't miss out. Bull and Bear is a place to be, y'all, for Texans game day. Anyway, back to what we were talking about. Okay, let's talk a little bit. Overall, even though the Texans defense was a little bit atrocious, that's an understatement, was atrocious last season, they did finish 5th place in the most turnovers. We did have a lot of turnovers, though. That's a positive.
That was because of the secondary. Not so much
right.
The front seven. That was all, interceptions, a couple fumbles. But again, our secondary, which is weird, our secondary was essentially a top 10 unit.
Right. But essentially, though, with that being said, with us finishing 5th in turnovers last year, you can build on that. I mean, think about it. That was essential for, remember that Cowboys game and the Chiefs game when we took them to
overtime.
We took the Chiefs to overtime. I think the Cowboys too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So we put those 2 teams. I mean, even the Cowboys, they had such a strong defense last season, and the Chiefs, who were offensively
Number
number one last season. You were able to hang in there with them and take them to overtime essentially. So that's a true testament. They had, I mean, it was a lot of it had to do with turnovers too. So
turnovers and essentially shutting down their passing game.
Right.
Because
So
they struggled to pass the ball. It's just running kept them in the game for the Cowboys.
exactly.
For the Chiefs, it was just Mahomes having. The thing with Mahomes is you take away the deep passing game. Like last year was him finally learning to
Right.
eat up the middle of the field. That's something he's had to work on, but he eventually learned it. Man, it sucks because watch out league.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, you got to see some of that. I mean, this past Thursday against the Lions, anyway. So
It's still a bit of a struggle, especially without Kelsey, because again, Kelsey is what eats up all the yards in the middle of the field,
Right.
and his receiving core is very unproven. It's a bunch of rookies and Kadarius Stonehands Tony.
Darius Stonehands Tony, that's hilarious. Yeah, exactly. So, by the way, I don't know if you saw, there was on YouTube. Well, it was also like a TikTok. They did like a compilation of every time he dropped the ball.
I did see that.
It's hilarious. Check it out if you can. Also, another thing that contributed to the Texans' downfall was I want to say, okay, so let's talk about Kenyon Green. Okay, Kenyon Green last season had a horrid rookie season.
I mean, when you sack your own quarterback on
Yeah.
offense, it's
He was manhandled.
terrible.
He was manhandled, and obviously him having Questenberry next to him didn't help. It was basically two big pieces of the offensive line that needed an upgrade or that needed to be fixed. Because it was just literally a wide open door.
It was basically cat spread offensive line.
Yes, it was basically, yeah, it was done. Like you might as well just like sneak right through because that's what was going to happen. So let me give you some stats on Kenyon Green really quick. So last season alone, he allowed 47 pressures on his quarterback, 31 hurries. He allowed 12 quarterback hits only on. He allowed 12 quarterback hits. I think one of them was his. 4 sacks allowed. You're crediting one to him, right?
I am.
Yeah.
Needless to say, he did not like Davis Mills. He wanted that kid to get hit. That's my personal belief.
He's like, oh, Davis is starting. We'll see about that. See how long that goes.
Good luck, fam.
Good luck. Oops, I fell and tripped. No, because you saw there were highlights of Kenyon Green where he was just manhandling.
I would call them low lights, but yes.
Yeah, I mean there was some. No, I mean by highlights. Yeah, I get your point. Haha. But like there were some highlights like when you see like Kenyon Green just manhandling dudes, and then suddenly it was just like, what's going on? Like what's happening? I mean, I get it. It's the NFL. I know in college it's completely different, but it's like it was a rude awakening for him.
Yeah, I mean he played in the SEC, so he's used to playing against top level competition. Last year, I honestly don't know what happened. Maybe it's just he had a lot of welcome to the NFL moments week in and week out. But he like you did mention, he did show a couple glimpses here and there, but it just wasn't consistent.
Yeah.
For every pancake he had, it would be like he allowed 3 sacks.
Yeah, exactly. It was a rude awakening, but you can see it as well. You know what? You can build on it from there, right? Well, it was announced like a couple of weeks ago. Guess what? Kenyon Green is out for the whole season. So now you don't really have a sophomore year.
It was kind of head scratching, honestly, because they said he was supposed to get surgery and they decided to put off on it. And I'm like, why? Get the surgery so you can play the whole year. Like, I don't understand the reason behind that. Like, if you have an injury that requires surgery, get it done early so you have a chance to recover and play the full season instead of heal on its own. And then
that was a head scratcher.
And then you aggravate it and you're out for the entire season now.
Yeah, that was a head scratcher. Seeing Kenyon Green just kind of go off or blow off that surgery, I'm like, okay.
And like I can't tell if that comes from the front office or that was just him personally. Yeah. Hopefully it's wasn't the front office trying to force it. I don't see that, honestly. I think It's more of him trying to prove himself and gamble on himself, and it obviously didn't pay off because you're going to miss an entire year.
Yeah.
And that's one of the strong points of this team on the offseason was the offensive line, and now we're down basically 3 starters.
Right. Yeah. Now exactly. We had Juice Scruggs, which definitely is an upgrade over how do you call it, Questenberry, which
your cat would be an upgrade over Questenberry.
Yeah. Leave Luke Skywalker alone. No. And so yeah, definitely like he is a complete upgrade over Questenberry. And so, but luckily he's not out for a long time. He's I think what 4 games.
Yeah, so him and
So
Titus
they come back at the same time, right?
So Juice is out. He's on injured reserve, so he's got the first 4 games.
Right.
Titus isn't on injured reserve, so I think they're going to hold him out this week and go do practice and see how he holds up, without the cast.
Yeah.
And if he can hold up, I think he comes back week 2. If not, week 3 is probably the latest he comes back.
Yeah. No, overall, like this offensive line unit is definitely an upgrade over last season. But with these 2 pieces gone for right now, that I feel like that's going to prove a key factor into today's game. However, I don't know. I don't know how I feel about the Ravens pass rushing though.
Well, we were on a show this week with a Ravens podcast, and their strength for their defense is their pass rush and their run defense.
Mm-hmm.
Like their DVOA last year was a top 8 unit after they got Patrick Queen.
Mm-hmm.
So their thing is stopping the run, which is going to be probably our bread and butter this year until CJ kind of gets his feet wet a little bit.
Right.
So it should be a good test, but they are missing a bunch of guys in the secondary. Like their secondary is pretty banged up. So I think if the line can give CJ enough time to get the ball out quickly, it should be an interesting game because.
Yeah, look out for I feel like you're definitely going to see Schultz a lot today.
It's going to be a lot of short passes.
A lot of short passes, a lot of check. I hate it. It's checkdowns. It's going to be checkdowns, but they're going to be they're going to be essential checkdowns, not unnecessary ones.
Because I've been reading the reports and seeing some of the interviews, and it seems like they're going to throw the house at CJ today. Because quarterback, they're going to try to rattle him.
They're going to try to blitz him. They're going to try to all the QB pressure. Like that O line today has a hell of a job to do.
Yeah, it's going to be basically engage 8 all freaking game until
engage 8. Blitz. What was it from the line from Remember the Titans? We blitz them all night.
Basically.
Yeah, it's going to be Remember the Titans. We blitz them all night.
Which honestly is going to work in CJ's favor because he can get the ball quickly and accurately.
I mean,
if he can just get an extra second to throw the ball,
it should be fine.
Limit mistakes. He should be able to get the ball down the field and give us, chances to score.
The thing is, obviously he's going to have some bonehead mistakes today. Like that's the given. He's going to have some bonehead because he's a rookie. I mean, it's going to happen. You're not going to expect him to start just balling out 314 passing yards in one game kind of a thing. He's going to make mistakes, and you're supposed as a fan, you need to expect that. Even you need to expect CJ Stroud making bonehead decisions this season because how else is he going to learn from them? I mean, it's just to be expected. And I know that the thing is, the narrative is going to seem like, well, CJ Stroud's a bust. No, he's not. He hasn't been given a chance yet. People were.
Kid's 21.
Kid's 21. Davis Mills had 3 years to do it, and he couldn't do it. I mean, that to me, that's a chance. Does that make sense? Yeah. By then, you should have already known exactly. And yes, you could say, well, it's a brand new offense. I understand that, but at the end of the day, Davis Mills is just not that guy. He had his chance to prove it. He had
his rookie year.
He had his rookie year. Yeah.
Second season, he had the full offseason being the unquestioned starter. Got benched for Kyle Allen and Driscoll. If you get benched for those 2 guys, or they can have a 2-quarterback system, you're not that guy. That's why they went out and got CJ
Stroud. I mean,
higher ceiling, higher intangibles, and you know what? It's just hopefully he's a franchise quarterback.
Yeah.
To be determined, but
thanks, Anna. Thanks, Cal.
Honestly, the front office believes in him. His teammates believe in him. They voted him a team captain as a rookie.
Yeah,
he got pretty much $26 million guaranteed up front his first season. They believe that he's the guy. So it's up to him now at this point to go out there and prove it. And I have full faith in him. I'm expecting an upset. I expect the Texans, now with Andrews out, I expect them to actually pull the upset. It's not going to be a high-scoring game, but I think it's going to be an ugly win. But hey,
what's the over-under?
W's still count.
Do you know what the over-under is for today's game?
It changed with Andrews out because I think we were 10-point underdogs
before
Andrews is out. Now it's probably going to be maybe 5-point underdogs. But still, if they can pull off the upset, it's still going to be an upset because it's the Ravens at home.
Yeah. Let me see. I'm looking at. So they're giving ESPN's giving the Ravens a 73.5% chance of winning, with the Texans at 26.3%.
That's probably with Andrews in the lineup. I don't think they've updated it
You don't
yet.
think it up there?
Because I
yet?
don't think Vegas is up. Well, Vegas is quick.
Vegas
so
is knocked
Vegas
out.
is quick. Like I say, they were 10-point underdogs with Vegas, so now it's probably about 5. They're still underdogs, don't get me wrong, but they have a better chance now with Andrews out because who scares you in that offense outside of Lamar? J.K.
Nobody.
Dobbins he's to be determined.
Right, and you know that Odell Beckham is not that guy anymore.
Just a name.
Yeah,
Zay
he's just a
Flowers
name.
is questionable because again he's a young
Is
guy.
that no, it's not the over under, right?
Yeah.
Is it 9.5?
So it only dropped 0.5. Oh, that's a little surprising, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, so I mean, obviously, so do you expect a win from the Texans today or no?
I think they could pull the upset with Andrews out because he was the heart and soul of that offense. Because if your name wasn't Mark Andrews, you weren't really catching passes from Lamar. You were just kind of blocking.
Okay.
Because they had nobody as far as receivers last year. Like they had chances, they just weren't doing anything with those chances. And this year, it's going to be more of the same with Andrews out.
So we got a comment right now. Alexander Harbula, I hope I'm pronouncing it correctly. He says, "What up? What's up, Alexander? Thanks for joining us. I'm not a big fan of your star on there, but hey, we'll take it for today." I'm just kidding. Go ahead, buddy.
You. No, I'm just kidding, man.
No,
Appreciate the comment,
us,
bro.
man.
Appreciate the comment, man.
Yeah, it's all love. It's all love. All right, man. So yeah, I don't. So me personally, even with Andrews out, I do believe we have a bigger chance. That's for sure. But I'm pretty sure we still take the loss today.
Yeah, like I said, I'm not guaranteeing a win. I can see the upset happening now with him out, but I think I said their chances improve dramatically with Andrews out.
Yeah.
It's because honestly, that middle of the field is still a concern. I don't see any of our linebackers being, great against elite tight ends.
Mhm.
Your, average tight ends, they can probably stop. But the elite guys like Andrews or, the Kelseys of the league, the Goddards of the league, like I don't see them stopping them just yet. Hopefully Perriman proves me wrong and Henry To'oTo'o and whoever's out there, trying to play in coverage.
Yeah.
If they can prove me wrong, hey, I'm all for it. Because the last few years, it's just been one of our biggest weaknesses, stopping the run and stopping tight ends, stopping those middle of the field passes.
Right.
We haven't had any speed at the outside linebacker position or middle linebacker position for quite some time now.
Yeah, no, like I said, compared to last season's defense, it's definitely going to be an upgrade because there's really you can't really get worse from there. Now, can you?
Please, God, no.
Exactly. I mean, this season, I say no, you definitely can't just because you have a guy like D'Amico Ryans leading the defense this season, I don't think he's going to take anything like that, I want to shed some light on some of the positives from last season's defense.
There were positives?
They were, actually. So Jerry Hughes last season alone had 9 sacks, 19 solo tackles, 14 assists, and he had 1 interception.
Jerry Hughes is 67 years old. He should not be leading the team in sacks.
Exactly, but he still did, and that's a good thing.
Honestly, I'm still glad he's on the roster because I think he's
Same.
going to be good veteran leadership for some of these younger guys because
I agree.
He's been around the league a long time. He's been on winners. Like he's
been with Indy, I think Buffalo, if I'm not mistaken. Who else? I think that's it. Right?
He's been around the league, but he's been on winning organizations, and he's been with proven winners on defense as well. Like that's knowledge you can share to these younger guys, and hey, I'm all for it.
Yeah, and of course, one of our rising stars that I feel like he's going to have a great season this year. Jalen Petrie had 5 interceptions in his rookie year last season. So, from what I noticed, the Texans have, even though Jerry Hughes, like you said, he's 98 years old. He's about your age.
We went to school together.
Yeah, let's go together. But the thing about the Texans, what's the positive thing about the Texans? Rookies, not rookies necessarily, but they're
young team basically.
They're such a young team. They're not like 28, 30. Majority of them, they're not 28, 30 and looking for a contract. They're 21, 22, all the way to 24.
We have one of the youngest rosters in the league.
Yeah, it's a young roster, so there's obviously
room
to grow.
Outside of the templates here, veterans on offense like Robert Woods and Jerry Hughes on defense, our team is very, very young. Most of these guys are fourth year or younger.
Yeah.
So it's a very young roster. They're very moldable. You can definitely, correct any incorrect techniques, tendencies, stuff like that. They're still young. They haven't been they're not, 10-year veterans where they're set in their ways. They're still young and moldable, which is, it's a very good thing, especially now with D'Amico and his coaching staff. Most of them come from the 49ers and from the NFC West, teams that had good defenses.
All right. No, I agree. So, since we're still talking about the defense, I want to talk about one guy, and I want to make a comparison. I think I spoke to you a little bit earlier off the show, really quick, just to let you know, hey, this is what I want to compare today. And so I wanted to compare, Will Anderson's year this season. Okay, he's a rookie coming in. He was a high draft pick for the Texans, and not just for the Texans. I'm sure like a lot of teams were looking into Will Anderson, the Terminator, right?
Anyone with a pulse was looking to get Will Anderson.
Right. So the last season's rookie who had just about this, his ceiling was just as high as Will Anderson's. I want to. It was Aiden Hutchinson, right? And we all know that the Detroit Lions got him. So I wanted to compare some stats that Aiden Hutchinson was able to achieve his rookie season with the Detroit Lions, and I want us to talk about what we can expect to see from Will Anderson this season compared to the stats that Aiden Hutchinson had with the Lions. Okay, you ready? So, Aiden Hutchinson last season with the Detroit Lions had 52 quarterback pressures, he had 52 total tackles, he had 15 quarterback hits, and he attributed to nine and a half sacks. That was Aiden Hutchinson's last year. Going off of those stats, do you see Will Anderson this season achieving just as much, or do you feel that Will Anderson will actually supersede Aiden Hutchinson's stats? And if you do, why?
Honestly, I see him superseding those stats because he has a higher ceiling. He was the better player in college. He has the higher measurables. And last year with the Lions, they were the top scoring offense, but they allowed the most points in the league as well. So with Hutchinson, he had a lot of opportunities to pass rush because they were playing from behind most of the game. I don't see the Texans playing from behind a lot, but I still think with his opportunities, Will Anderson's probably going to get double digit sacks. Same thing with the quarterback pressure. It's like as you saw in preseason, like he's pretty hard to stop. It's going to take 2 or 3 guys to stop him. But then again, like it's going to come down to the defensive tackles and whoever's playing at right end, either if it's Jerry Hughes or if it's Grenard, like one of those guys is going to have to alleviate some of that pressure to give him some more one-on-one opportunities. But even with the double teams, I still see him putting up better numbers.
I can see that. Really quick, I want to give a shout out to one of our comments right now on our YouTube. Good luck, CJ Stroud, and go Texans and Browns. I'll agree with part of that. What's up, Ed? Thanks for saying what's up, buddy.
Two of the 3 statements. Appreciate you, Ed.
Yeah, appreciate you, Ed. But as a Texans fan, and I know you're a Browns fan, but as a Browns fan, I hope that y'all don't do so good so we can get that a draft pick up for us.
0-17. I want Marvin Harrison Jr.
Yeah, we want Marvin Harrison Jr. Y'all. No, but no. Good luck, Ed. Thank you again for coming on the show, brother. We appreciate that. Okay, going back to your point on Will Anderson, Aiden Hutchinson, I could see comparable numbers to that. I mean, Aiden Hutchinson did have a pretty good rookie season. Like, not to take anything away from him, I could see that. Obviously, the sky's the limit now, but I think I wouldn't be surprised if Will Anderson might have looked at those stats and be like, okay, I see where my ceiling is, and maybe and just completely go higher than that. I don't see him not doing that either.
That should be the floor for him, honestly.
That should be the floor for him. Like, okay, this is what Aiden was able to do his rookie season. I'm sure I can. Yeah, bet. Challenge accepted. So it should be pretty. It should be pretty competitive. I'm wishing the best. I want Will Anderson to beat Aiden Hutchinson's numbers. Could you see him being defensive rookie of the year?
Basically, it's his to lose at this point. It really is.
Yeah, no, exactly. I have high expectations for Will Anderson. We saw some flash that we can do against Miami in the preseason game. We just completely murdered. Was it
Devin Achane? Like
Devin Achane, yeah.
He took that man's lunch, and he almost took the quarterback's lunch too.
He did. it was highway robbery, y'all. No, it was. I'm looking forward to what Will Anderson will do. That is something that I'm excited about to see. I do agree with you. Eventually, the Texans are going to have to go out and get another pass rusher to help them out. If you want to have that, I mean, I don't want to say I don't want to compare the situation to when we got Clowney and J.J. Watt, But in a way, yes. But
it almost is.
It is. But somebody with I guess, higher quality than Jadeveon Clowney,
Well, because not to take away from Clowney, he was great at setting the edge and stopping the run, but basically, with that line, what you wanted was someone to be able to complement J.J. Watt's pass rushing abilities, and he wasn't.
which is hard to do.
But then again, he wasn't one of those guys you had to worry about rushing the passer. Like he was great at stopping the run and setting the edge, but he was just average at best. Getting after the quarterback. It was basically, if you can slow down Watt as far as pass rush, there was no one else because Clowney's wasn't that guy for us.
Yeah, he wasn't. I know that last season. So last season, I gave you the stats of the quarterbacks last season, combined, by the way, which was pretty sad. The numbers were
And
really.
honestly, I expect CJ to pass all those
So
numbers.
there were some CJ Stroud projections that I want to read to you, okay? And let's see what we think. If we think we agree with them, if they're a little higher, they're a little lower. I'm pretty sure I know what you're going to say. They're going to be, no, they're going to be higher. I get it. It's. I understand that you're going to be optimistic, and why wouldn't we, right? I mean, we endured 3-4 years worth of mediocrity or at
below mediocrity.
Below mediocrity. So I get it, but hear me out on these really quick and see what you think. Okay. So, but I was watching some how do you call it, some videos on YouTube, and obviously I was reading some articles too. And one, a lot of this stuff that I got today was from the channel Football Analytics. Great channel. Check it out. So they gave CJ Stroud's projections. They gave him at 3,400 passing yards this season, 20 passing touchdowns, and about 12 interceptions. What do you think?
Interceptions might be right. Passing yards, I expected a little bit. My projection was around like 3,800. I don't expect them to set the league on fire. 3,800 is respectable number, higher than we've had in a few years. Touchdowns, I would bet the over. I would say around 25, 26.
25, 26?
That's again respectable.
Rios with the optimism, y'all. No, but
right.
No, but I understand. Like
they're not super far off. They're not super far off. I'll say that.
So I'm gonna agree with a little bit of this. I might just go a little bit over on it. I'm gonna say 3,500 yards, passing yards for CJ. I'm gonna say about 22 passing touchdowns, and I'm gonna say about 13 interceptions. The thing about CJ, don't get me wrong, I in no way do I mean that I'm not happy about a quarterback. I love the fact that we got CJ Stroud. It's gonna be a change, right? So honestly, I'm gonna predict CJ Stroud does have a little bit more interceptions just because he's a rookie this season. So like I said, it attributes back to what I said earlier. He's gonna make some bonehead decisions, and it's gonna happen. I mean, we saw what was that in training camp we saw Steven Nelson bait CJ Stroud to throw in a pick. Same thing happened at the Patriots game. Yeah. So I think now it's already happened twice. I don't see it happening a third time, but you never know. The way that these when you go against a team that's really good at their defensive schemes, I think that's when we're really going to see what CJ is about.
Which we're going to see this game with Jim Harbaugh.
Right, we're going to see
John Harbaugh.
John Harbaugh, yeah, with Jim, whatever. Same. It's not like they're related, right?
Not at all.
Not at all. They look the same, exactly the same. No, but yeah, I think that's going to be a true testament to what CJ has to offer for this team. Now, again, it's his rookie season. What can you expect? So honestly, I see CJ's stats like that, but I will add one more interception because I think he will have mistakes this season. It is going to happen.
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that point of view. I don't see the double-digit interceptions. I think he's a little bit smarter with the ball than our previous interception king, Davis Mills.
19, by the way. 19 is as long as you don't reach 19, I think I'm pretty happy with that.
Right, as long as you're not leading the league in picks. We're playing a couple more games than Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott missed a lot of games. He led the league, and he was tied with Mills with interceptions.
Yeah.
So I think early on, I think most of those picks will probably be early on in the season. He's going to struggle a little bit. But I think after the bye, he's really going to find his stride, and you're going to see like you're going to start to see the ceiling towards the season. And
I forgot Davis Mills had and Dak Prescott's numbers were pretty much the same for the Cowboys. We have a Cowboys fan here, and I'm just like
interception king.
I knew that I was gonna get a look. I knew as I did that I was gonna get a look. Poor thing. What? She said, "Oh, this is their year again."
We're going on year 28 of being their year.
This is year 28 of this is their year.
The last time it was their year, I was 11 years old. I'm about to be 40 next year, so you do the math.
I also remember what VHS tapes were like. I'm just kidding. No, I'm sorry.
Eight tracks are a thing.
We're not welcomed anymore. Eight tracks are a thing.
Oh man, we got the boot.
I know we got booted out of here.
That's boot.
That's boots. Yeah. No. Sorry. So we have to have a little fun. Yeah, but nonetheless.
That's what I love about football season, man. It's all about talking trash and being playful banter.
That's what it is exactly. Because don't get me wrong, I love my Astros, but we've had since draft day, we really haven't shed much light on football. We had predictions here and there, yes, but other than that, it's that awkward feeling from like draft day to preseason where you're kind of like dry.
The games actually matter now.
Right, the games actually matter.
Everyone's 0-0, and that win-loss matters at this point.
I feel like from draft day to like now, it's like, so what do you think is going to happen? We don't have an actual ceiling to fall under, and that's what it is. We're just kind of like shooting it and see what sticks. Enjoying your Guinness there?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Good job. Breakfast of Champions.
Breakfast
right?
of Champions.
That's your second breakfast. Yeah, man. No, it's
when our boys, our third co-sponsor, were like, "Hey, man, is it too early for micheladas?" Like, never. It's never too early.
It's michelada time.
It is 5 o'clock somewhere at any point, in any given time, and somewhere on this planet. So
exactly. I think it's over there. Shout out to Dan, by the way. Dan Harris.
Dan.
Yeah, appreciate you. It's probably 5 o'clock where Dan is at right now. Maybe. We'll see.
Dan's probably like 10 Bloody Marys deep.
Dan's probably like, don't mention me on my show. On your show? What did I tell you?
Stop saying my name.
Stop saying my name in your show. So I'm looking at the text thread right now. We have an AFC South roundtable text thread through WhatsApp, and I'm looking at our friend Sam, who's a Titans fan. He said, "Hope all goes well for your live show." Aw. And then we have Poppy, our other co-host, tell him, "I hope the Titans lose every single game for the next 27 years."
Not 27 years. Oh man, no! All my group chats. I'm in a bunch of different fantasy leagues, and all the group chats are going off right now. Which, like I said, my favorite time of year.
As it should. And then Sam wrote back, "I hope you learned some class in your lifetime, but can't always get what we want, do we?"
Yikes!
Oh, that's funny. Fight. That's what.
Let them fight.
Oh, that's so funny. It's just so funny to me that Sam was just all like, "Hey, I hope all goes well in your live show. I hope the Titans lose every single game in the next 27 years."
Sam's such a teddy bear, but then if you poke the bear, he'll growl at you.
Yeah, it's pretty funny though. But I hope everybody starts talking trash to their friends. Obviously,
of course,
it's fun. That's the best.
Hopefully,
part of
everyone's group chats are lit.
Yes, I hope all your group. Ours has been lit since early in the morning. So
it started last night.
It started last night. It was on site. Oh, by the way, speaking of last night, U of H played against Rice. Now, I had like that. No. I mean, it was it started off bad. I think they were up 28-0 at one point.
It was 20-0.
But then U of H, pulled up, came from behind and ended up beating them. 40?
No, they lost.
They lost. Oh, you always thought I thought they ended up losing.
No, so basically we were down 28-0. Then U of H scored after halftime. They scored 35 straight points, took it to overtime.
You're right. You're right. It was 41-43. That's what it was.
So they scored a touchdown, then the 2-point conversion. We scored the touchdown, but then we failed in the 2-point conversion because the guy dropped the ball at the end, and it was just disheartening.
But dude, what I saw from U of H football yesterday, I was like, okay, so you kind of barely made it in the first game against UTSA. You kind of
I predicted
you struggled with them.
Well, I said this is the first year in the Big 12. They didn't get a big chance to get a bunch of 5-star recruits. So I figured they'd struggle early on this year, especially on the defensive side.
Yeah.
The offense is always going to be high scoring, and they were because they scored 35 straight points. The defense, they held their own in the second half. It's just when you get to double overtime, these guys are tired and can't always make the stops. But I think this year it's probably going to be a little bit of a struggle. Probably finish 8-4, 7-5. I think next year when they have another year in the Big 12, another chance to get a better recruiting class, that's when you start to see what they can be in playing in a bigger conference.
Yeah, and Rice Owls, I think the previous week they had gone.
They were actually pretty impressive.
Yeah, they were.
They took UT to the wire for a little bit.
For a little bit, and then I think by the second quarter they ended up scoring 9, and then the third quarter they just kind of gave up. They let them score 21 points.
But this is the same UT that beat Alabama yesterday.
That's true. That is true. It's the
Rice,
same UT.
Rice didn't impress me as much as it pains me to say it. It hurts every fiber of my
They
being.
went toe to toe with U of H. I mean, yeah.
I give credit where credit's due. And
also, I mean, seeing what do you call it? Christian McCaffrey's little brother there too was pretty cool.
He was actually pretty impressive. I wasn't gonna lie. I saw that like.
Do you see him? Do you see Christian's little brother going into the NFL now?
I can see him being a late round pick. I think it's going to take him some time to develop, but I mean, they come from a good gene pool, so we'll see.
Right. Luke McCaffrey, that's what it was. Luke McCaffrey. I don't want to just say Christian McCaffrey's little brother.
That one-handed catch he made.
Yeah, that was gold.
Bro, that
one-handed catch.
That's got to be ESPN top 10 this week. That was that was impressive. I was like, hats off to you, sir. Hats off.
All right, so we have a few more minutes before about 15 more minutes. So I kind of want to go over the keys of victory for the Ravens Texans game today. So keys of victory. What do the Texans have to do to beat the Ravens today?
Control the clock. Keep the ball out of Lamar's hands. Not make mistakes on offense, and capitalize on opportunities when you get to the red zone. Don't settle for field goals. You're not going to beat this team with field goals because Justin Tucker is basically automatic. Anything inside 65 yards.
Right. Okay. I'm going to agree with that. I'm going to say, make sure that as soon as you start punting or doing field goals, I know this game is over. The Texans have a history of, going 3-and-out on the first series. Every time, even with Deshaun Watson. Now, I get that Bill was writing the top plays, but at the end of the day.
So basically, the first 15 plays were always scripted, and any 15, 20 plays are scripted. So that's typically our first half, under O'Brien.
But, dude,
then you saw in the second half when it was Deshaun improvising where we would score points.
But I could even think about that even when we had Gary Kubiak. Going back to then, I remember we would go 3-and-out on the first series of as soon as we got the field, we'd always elect to either receive the ball or whatnot, 3-and-out immediately.
So I think with that, it's more of long as Schaub was a different type of quarterback. He was one of those, he needed everything to go right with him, and they were a little bit more conservative as far as their play calling early on.
Yeah.
Because I guess they wanted to, with Kubiak, wanted to feel out what the defense was doing.
Right, exactly.
And once they figured it out, that's when they, put it on a little bit. But the problem with Kubiak was very predictable by year 3. You could almost call the plays at the line of scrimmage almost. Yeah. I remember watching the Seahawks game. We were going against them. We were leading them, and then I saw how they lined up. This is going to be a tight end screen to Owen Daniels, and it was. And Richard Sherman saw that, took it to the house, pick 6, we lost the game.
Yeah. Is that the game that we had Brian Cushing in, and when he went out of the concussion, but he was owning Marshawn Lynch? Yeah. Yeah. Marshawn Lynch was stopped. Brian Cushing had Marshawn Lynch's number along with the juice. But he made Marshawn Lynch look silly. And then once I think he got concussed by halftime, I want to say. He didn't come out after halftime. And
somewhere around there, second or third quarter,
Yeah. And then I remember that. That's when Matt Schaub started throwing his pick sixes. He had
that's when the streak started.
The streak started of pick sixes. Did you remember the meme that was going around back then? It was hey, buy the new Matt Schaub jersey, and it had the Texans jersey. How you can customize it? It had pick 6 on the back.
Who could forget?
No, exactly.
The beginning of our downfall.
The beginning of our downfall. Yeah. It really was. Once Matt Schaub started losing that confidence, bro, that was over. It was over. There was no coming back from it. After that. It got pretty predictable, so I just hope that Bobby Slowick, I know we're using the very similar type offense. I just hope that Bobby Slowick is able to change it up.
Yeah, I think his is a little bit different. His is more along the Kyle Shanahan route. Basically, it's going to be a lot of zone runs, a lot of, quick reads, a lot of, eating up the middle of the field. It's not going to be a ton of deep shots, which is why I'm a little bit down on CJ's touchdown numbers, mid-20s, just because there's not going to be a lot of deep shots. Yeah. It's all going to be, middle of the field, quick screens, slants, a couple out routes, nothing,
basically
no fly routes, really.
Basically what Davis Mills was doing last season, but more effective.
Not giving it to the other team.
Now, I did call it this season with CJ going at 3,500 yards. I'm going to say 22 touchdowns and about 13 interceptions. That's what I'm saying on that one. That's my prediction. This is using the roof that was predicted for CJ Stroud. But I'm just going to go a little bit higher on that. Yes, I did raise the interception a little more just because, again, just because of the, how do you call it? Just he's a rookie. So.
Oh, ye of little faith.
Yeah, right. No, but I mean, let's just be trying to keep it realistic, you know. And I get your optimism, which I fault you not
which
at all.
which has been non-existent
It
since
has been
2020.
non-existent. You're 100%. So, nonetheless, it should be a great, interesting game to watch. I'm going to talk about what I see as the keys of victory for the Texans today. If first, it's going to come with the O line. If the O line can gel together, I know we're missing Juice Scruggs. I know we're missing our Juice Scruggs are starting center. I know we're missing Kenyon Green, but if
Titus.
he and Titus Howard, like we're missing three pieces that that were together at the beginning and now they're not. So obviously the O line chemistry is going to be a little shaky. So, and that can cause, CJ Stroud to get sacked. Maybe CJ Stroud gets a hit. Maybe some pressure is being added for CJ Stroud. So, with that being said, as long as the O line can be, it's going to start there. As long as the O line can be pristine or as close to pristine as possible, we have a shot. Also, CJ Stroud has to look for open receivers, has to look for Dalton Schultz. Like that's going to be his safety net, Dalton Schultz this season. And obviously, again, goes back to the O line. They have to create holes for Damian Pierce to relieve some of that pressure off of CJ Stroud because they're coming in. They're going to throw the house at CJ Stroud, rookie quarterback,
Engage
like you
eight.
said, engage eight, just full on blitzing. So as long as CJ Stroud can throw the ball quickly, also that alleviates some of that pressures that he's going to get, right? So also on defense, I mean, last season you were fifth in turnovers. Build from that. If you can create turnovers, which I think this defense is capable of.
Especially Lamar, he's very
Yeah,
susceptible to fumbling the ball and throwing picks.
exactly. If you can make Lamar, if you can pressure Lamar enough to where he can make mistakes, mental mistakes, you have a shot. Also, you have to make sure that Lamar Jackson doesn't use those legs.
Don't let him get to the outside.
Don't let him get
He
to
hits
the
that
outside.
outside, he's gone.
He's an outside threat. Lamar Jackson is going to pick apart that defense if they're not consistent. If they leave him open, it's over.
His arm doesn't scare me so much as his legs.
Right, his legs. I'm telling you, that's the thing. And based on what I saw with the Dolphins preseason game when we had our starters, it looks like we may struggle again in the run. But I'm sure we won't get to
Won't be levels of last year,
we won't be
basically.
levels anywhere near last season. So that's going to be to me the keys of victory. And of course, your how do you call it? Capitalize on Lamar Jackson not having those receivers, which goes back to the turnover. That back end or secondary is a no-fly zone. I'm pretty sure you got. Yes, we have Jimmy Ward out today. That's fine, but you have Jalen Petrie who had 5 interceptions last season as a rookie safety. So I pretty sure he's going to have a much better year, and it starts today.
Same thing with Stingley. Now
Stingley.
he's going to be playing to what his strength is,
I
man to man.
I see Derek Stingley and I see Jalen Petrie competing with each other to get picks. I see that
Let's not
happening
forget
this season.
Steven Nelson. He signed the
Steven
contract.
Nelson.
It's time to prove it.
Exactly. Steven Nelson, who hates Nick Casares' wardrobe, signed that contract. So I'm looking forward to seeing some Steven Nelson action, some Jalen Petrie, and of course Derek Stingley in the backfield. That's going to be a no-fly zone.
I think an X factor for this game is going to be Tank Dell.
Yeah.
So he's projected, it's basically like second on the
UH.
second on the depth chart as far as behind Nico Collins.
Right.
So basically like fourth receiver. I think
It's almost like a little dark horse, right? You don't see it coming.
I can see the trust. They said he's basically just going to return punts this game, but I can see them throwing him in a couple packages and seeing what they have in him and see if they can catch him off guard.
I have some
And
high
you get him-
expectations for him. Yeah.
And if you get him in the open field, good luck. It's
There you
another
go.
guy. Once he's open field, good luck.
So
And with the punt returns, he
He's
was
pretty
electric.
effective.
He was electric at UH, and I expected here in the NFL. Hopefully, he doesn't return punts too long.
yeah.
Today, that's cool. Give us good field position because it's going to be a battle field position most of the games. Like I said, I expect a low scoring game.
Yeah.
Defensive struggle.
So you say low scoring, right?
Yeah.
Okay. What is your score prediction for the Ravens Texans game this season? Sorry.
Now with Andrews out, I'm going us winning 13-10.
Oh, you're actually taking the win on that one.
I'm
Okay.
taking the win.
All right, I'm going to take the loss on that one. I'm going to say that the Texans still lose, even with Andrews out, but I don't think it's going to be as high as I thought it was going to be at first. So I'm going to say Texans, Ravens 13-10.
We'll say it was right.
score. Yeah, just because of Andrews not being a big weapon. And again, I don't see Odell Beckham being as useful to Lamar Jackson as most people see it. He's just a name now. I don't think.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I see Steven Nelson on him most of the game.
Yeah.
And you got a faster Stingley on Zay Flowers.
Yeah, again,
Zay Flowers is really
Zay Flowers.
He's a little version of Tyreek, but I think it's going to be a welcome to the NFL moment for him.
Yeah, same thing. All right. Well, time to set up our lineups. I'll leave you all 5 minutes before, just because it gives you time to set up your fantasy lineups or whatnot, and that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna be live here at Bull and Bear 30 minutes after the game to either with tears, either happy tears or tears of
Sad
sorrow, and hopefully I'm sure there'll be enough beer for us to drink after that.
Sorrow or lamentation.
Sorrow or
Hopefully,
lamentation.
not the other.
Yeah, and oh, look at that. Will Anderson's getting ready. I'm expecting a lot from Will Anderson today too. Do you expect a sack at all today from Will Anderson?
I expect at least one.
One,
At least
yeah.
1 sack and maybe 1 forced fumble.
Could see that. All right, let's see how it goes. All right, go Texans! And of course, if you are here in the Houston area, come through to the Bull and Bear. We will be here on 30 minutes after the game to do our post-game show. They
Should
got
open, buy me a beer.
huh?
Should open, buy me a beer.
Right, exactly. Don't let this man influence you. No, so
Don't listen to him.
just a reminder. For Bull and Bear today, we got the 16-ounce draft beers of the month for $4. If you buy a pitcher, you get a 12-inch one-topping pizza or house nachos or jalapeno boats for about $3.99, and for $11.99, a large pizza with 3 free toppings. Again, our address is the 11980 Westheimer Road, Suite A, Houston, Texas 77077. Come join us at the Bull and Bear Pub.
Out here in the slot.
Hey, Alief. All right, y'all. We'll see y'all after. Give me 1 second. Let me get this thing. After the game for about 30 minutes, and that's going to
It's
be.
not touchscreen, sir. Stop touching the screen.
Forget that you don't have it updated to where it's touchscreen. All right. That's gonna be it for the pregame show. See y'all later. Bye.